don't do drugs. Just don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Drugs are for kids, not you. Drugs are for kids. Save them for the children. Save the drugs for the kids. Save the drugs for the kids. Save the drugs for the kids. Wow, I'm good at spelling. Man. CBS crossed the line. No.
So there is a negotiation underway between Donald Trump, which is sued, who has sued, CBS News for like $50 billion, whatever. It's a crazy thing. All right. And the lawsuit is that Trump alleges that CBS News helped Kamala Harris in the campaign. That's a 60 Minutes thing that was edited in a different way. I do believe that 60 Minutes did try to help.
LOL, haha. I hate everything, bro. The 60 Minutes video with Trump, where he cries about Kamala being edited. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. Nothing changes about the interview.
Kamala Harris. From what, just the facts that I've seen, I believe they did.
Yep.
But I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Anyway, CBS is owned by Paramount, all right, the big Hollywood outfit. And Paramount wants to sell CBS to an outfit it's called Skydance, all right? Now, Skydance is run by Larry Ellison's son. Skydance is a much more conservative outfit than Paramount CBS. So it's good for Trump if Paramount sells to Skydance. In the meantime, though, there's all this angst. Now, Trump despises CBS because of Leslie Stahl. And in an interview on October 25th, 2020, way back, I think, though, it's going to turn around economically so that people aren't frightened. Do you have a timeline on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very fair question. Building plants, building equipment, building so much right now. You probably heard it could be $8 trillion. It could be more than $8 trillion of new investments. Outside in one of my offices waiting for me is the president and chairman of Eli Lilly. And I just left. You take a look. IBM was here today.
Yeah.
IBM was here. They're spending billions of dollars. I had some of the biggest. Apple, as you know, is spending $500 billion. They're building their plants, and they've already started in the United States. As you know, they built most of them in a very short period of time.
I don't know how you do it, bro. Most of the things Trump talks about are investments from the CHIPS Act, as we know. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe. Oh, wait, I have my thing on subscriber only. Crap. That sucks. I hate when I do that. It kills it. It kills the beginning of the stream. How are you guys doing today? How are you guys feeling? How's it feeling out here in the world? Good day, man. Hope all is well. Late, LOL. I'm never late. I've never been late. Another day, another dime bag. How hip, LOL. I find Bill O'Reilly to be full of shit. Kelly R. Yay. Hello. It smells like liberal in here. I can't believe you smell me over the internet. I'm sorry, Ian, I think. The issue is my channel stopped growing completely. So if you look at my social blade, I'm basically a TikTok channel, right? And I have the horizontal because I know people like it. But when I started doing horizontal along with shorts, one second. When I started doing horizontal, and by the way, I wish these were the numbers for the ad revenue. But when I started doing horizontal, my numbers collapsed. Okay, so you can see like a lot of growth. But then I really died. When I started doing horizontal as well. Then I went back to doing only shorts on Friday, and I started growing again. So there's a big issue here, obviously, that makes it difficult to do horizontal and the shorts at the same time. Some good news. What's this? Oh, this.
Or whatever time you're watching this. JD Vance killed the Pope. Also, I've just received word that Donald Trump, the 47th president of the United States, is mean. Damn, not the adjective I was hoping for. But yeah, here's some news. Donald Trump.
Jon Stewart versus Bill O'Reilly. They're both pretty funny and cute. You mean cute, only cute, because they're attractive men. Bill O'Reilly is a very stunning man. He has such a tight. He's very tight, you know, extremely tight.
Is a meanie. I know, right? Cry more, lib. I am so triggered right now about how Donald Trump, the president, kidnapped an innocent person and deported him to a prison in El Salvador, the one place
Who cares?
he specifically wasn't supposed to be deported to if he were ever to be deported. And then
No one cares about those facts. I want to go further talking in a video about the right wing considering immigrants to not be human beings. Mostly illegal immigrants, but of course immigrants in general. So the way they talk about illegal immigrants, like I said yesterday, where it's like, hey buddy, I just got done beating up a child and cutting its head off and sending it off to be a slave in my labor camp. And it's like, bro, that's messed up. And yeah, and I actually I told the cops he's a bad boy, and they took him off to a prison, a torture camp in El Salvador. It's like, wow, that's terrible. It's like, don't worry, it was an illegal. Oh, it's an illegal. It's an illegal. It's okay to abuse them if it's an illegal. It's an illegal. They're here illegally. They're. Oh wait, never mind. No, they're not here illegally. They are not people that are here illegally. They are illegal aliens. They're not people. Every single piece of rhetoric the right wing has right now is 100% towards the idea that immigrants are not human beings. Like they do talk about them like Nazis talked about Jews, unironically. Even down to the point of ICE being able to go in someone's house if they suspect there's an immigrant in there. Like, oh, are you hiding an immigrant in the attic? Like,
a Supreme Court ruling to facilitate his return, and then sat down with the president of El Salvador to sneer at reporters about it, acting baffled about the concept of returning him, and claimed the man they, by their own admission, accidentally deported is actually a terrorist after all.
The question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal,
Yeah, I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
They're sick. These are sick people.
Wow.
there was by the way, there was an arrangement between Bukele and Trump, and Bukele it's kind of funny because they were supposed to only take convicted criminal illegal immigrants. Okay, that was the deal. So Bukele actually was walked along a path of being less lawful, more lawless, even more than their original arrangement. Because even in El Salvador, there is still like consent you need in a light dictatorship like El Salvador, where the people there are not going to accept you just like being a dumping ground for another country's criminals, you know.
And also, gosh, someone should probably remove that man from office.
Or migrants, whatever.
Triggered, since this one instance isn't an anomaly, but part of a pattern.
If anyone wants to talk about these issues, you can call in to the phone number. Anyone disagrees with Trump being a terrible little whiny baby boy.
Pattern of the president having people disappeared for thought crimes, or sometimes no crimes at all, and is now endeavoring to have US-born citizens, or homegrowns as he called them, also sent to El Salvador prisons, from which it appears death is the only escape. And it's weird that I'm not at all using hyperbole right now.
Nice. Don't do it. Howdy.
Hey.
What's up?
So I'm the dude in the comments who was like, "Oh, it smells like liver oil." The guy was like, "It smells like liver oil here." And I'm like, "I can't believe you smelled it over the internet."
Oh, okay.
Me. So like, here's something we may. I'm not a Trump guy, but here's something we may have a substantial discussion about. I don't know.
Okay.
That guy, the El Salvadorian guy. Like, I know it is. Well, number one, it's horrible that the Trump administration is shipping people out of the United States without any fucking due process rights, right? It is horrible that he's established this prison in which people basically have the living conditions of like worse than animals,
Yeah, it's a gulag, concentration camp, forced labor camp, whatever term you want to use. Yeah. Basically.
It's a South American gulag, I think is the best like metaphor for it. But the way that El Salvador was going before he made this mass incarceration project was horrible. You know what I mean? They were like on the track to ending up like Haiti is now, which is like just warlords controlling swaths of territory,
Sure. The
from
only,
from an outsider's perspective, I'm sure you might have more information on this than me.
So, if we want to get really deep about governments and what governments do, and about the balance of violence in a society, so like in America, if you have a legal system and you have a government, then the government can enforce that legal system and those ethics by saying,
Yeah.
hey, if you violate laws, then we're going to use the violence of the state, the monopoly of violence, to come down on you. Not to go down on you. To
The
yeah,
basic
to,
social contract. Yeah.
yeah, but so in El Salvador, let's say all the violence is separated and not controlled at all. There's always power vacuums, which libertarians, if they got their way, if we had a pure libertarian society, it would be like El Salvador was.
Or
So
if
if
you
you
could
have
ever
all
get
this
an actual
power,
libertarian to call in rather than someone who just says they're a libertarian that turns out to be a Trumper.
well, that's all libertarians basically. The libertarians that are real libertarians just don't vote, and they are just like not serious people, to be honest. Or I will say, like right now, I see the libertarian candidate Oliver. I think Chase Oliver. He's saying some pretty good things about what's happening right now with Trump. So I do appreciate that. But yeah, libertarians are like sort of like the Green Party, of course. Like third party fringes, they don't really get into much. But with the gangs in El Salvador, if you have all that violence separated into gangs and they're all always fighting each other and going to war, and there's no centralized location for that power to be had, there is no chance for any type of stability. So there is a chance in a country like that where there's people fighting nonstop and a bunch of different groups fighting, where a light dictatorship is preferable to that state of affairs. If you have a murder rate of 200 per 100,000 people, something crazy, maybe 400, whatever I forget what the numbers are. But Bukele, to get this power, did work with gangs and did get that violence in that society and was able to coalesce it and concentrate it into his government. So like when American conservatives look at El Salvador, it's an extremely oppressive state, but you can make arguments it's preferable, just like you could say like killing Saddam Hussein or killing another dictator somewhere can destabilize a region, right, in the Middle East. Same can go for El Salvador, where you might prefer to have it under a stable dictatorship rather than a bunch of different armies fighting each other, just like we have in the Middle East, right? It might be better to be stable
Which is
under
almost like
dictatorships
an
versus
unanswerable, it's like,
so that's
what's
the big
better, like what's better, total freedom and chaos or total centralized government control and some semblance of an orderly society?
Well, the issue is the right-wingers that want to bring El Salvador to America. The issue is right-wingers that see America and think we need a dictatorship. They want to go backwards into a worse society.
Yeah. Well, and it's like Trump has always wanted to be a dictator, but he's never had the attention span or organizational skills necessary.
Yeah, he's a very dumb person in general, too. I don't think he's smart enough. He has no self-control. He is a baby, so we need to be lucky for that, but also he's also pretty old and worn out right now. He has no energy, no ability to even lie. And I mean, to be honest, this first term, the economy did decent his first term because he didn't do anything. Like, he was not allowed to do anything. It was basically the little sibling that was not allowed to play with the actual game remote. They had to play with the other controller. But this presidency, he's player number one, and we see what's happening now.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then we've got Elon Musk running around the government like Rasputin without the big dick energy, just ruining things in his wake.
He had two hats on today in the Oval Office. He said, "Hey, I have two hats on because I wear many hats." Ha ha ha!
Honestly,
I love him actually.
What a fucking! I don't
disagreeer calling
understand how
here.
people. Okay,
I
but
think
hey,
there's a debater.
Oh, okay.
How about Pete
Well,
Hegseth? I love Pete Hegseth. I hope he keeps on being a pretty boy.
Oh, you like Whiskey Leaks?
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. I like how he delegitimizes Trump for the military, because we need the military to not be fascist. So he's helping.
Oh yeah. There's a fucking meme going around about how like students on campus talking about the Trump administration are obviously a much bigger security risk than somebody leaking military plans over a group chat. It's like,
Yeah, who cares? It's just sensitive data that's going to make us, if not lose lives, lose millions or billions of dollars in equipment that the enemies can target more, which is happening right now with the Houthis. They're able to go after drones and other ships that they're probably getting advance notice on. Because obviously Russia's working with Iran and Iran proxies, and it's just like a whole complicated mess.
And for fuck's sake, if anyone in our military has seen 2 minutes of video that was shot in Ukraine They know that our military needs to be pivoting to drone-based defense and attack systems. You know, it's just I don't know why they're not operating on that already.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Oh, I'm getting
they
the
are.
call again. Thank you for
All right.
thank you for the
Peace
call.
out, Cub Scout.
Have a good one. Cub Scout. All right. Crazy.
Call from
Hidden Gem Strip Club.
to accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Hello.
Your call has been forwarded to.
Hi, this is the Politics YouTube guy.
Yo, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, so I'm just calling in. I'm just curious, man. Are you at least aware of why you guys lost in November?
Yeah, I know pretty. Yeah, I have a really good understanding actually.
Do you?
Yep.
Because I would argue the biggest issue was the border. So you could sit here and critique Trump on a lot of things. He has done some things I don't like. However, he's performing on the border, which is, in my opinion, the number one issue that got him in there, as well as bringing manufacturing back. You know, with so
well, that
I would
one's
say
really
that,
funny because he's doing the opposite of the manufacturing thing.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
got
with the border, Trump did a lot of lying about immigrants too to scare people, so that was a big thing. But on manufacturing is leaving America. Our investments are actually going down right now because of the tariffs and because the economy's crashing, and the economy's actually shrinking now. We're last place globally for our economy among developed nations right now. So our economy's like, it sucks right now.
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware, but you know, we got Apple building factories over here. We got Honda, amongst a bunch of other. We got chip companies coming over here.
Yeah,
We
because of
got,
the bill Biden signed, but even that they're decreasing. And by the way, everything you see about EVs or whatever, they are going to be subsidized. It's going to be from probably a Biden policy from the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, or from the Chips and Science Act. And also, for every 10,000 jobs you see coming, there's going to be 50,000 leaving. Look up UPS, look up trucking jobs right now. Trucking jobs are crashing right now. The ports are empty from China because the government's setting communist price controls on imports through tariffs and taxing the American people. So we're going to see some pain economically without much guidance.
Yeah, there is going to be some pain to begin with, but you know, the last few decades we've lost so many jobs to China, and I'm cool with that, man. I'm cool with that. We need jobs to come back to America, and you say that Joe Biden did this or did that. That's laughable to me. That you say Joe Biden is the reason these companies are coming over here and building factories.
I can explain if you want.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So every single chip company coming to America. So Biden signed into law a bill called the Chips and Science Act, and this focused on semiconductors and different chips and everything. So our spending for infrastructure and manufacturing spending in America for like chips and batteries and all that kind of stuff actually went up by like 10 times what it was before Biden. So if you see companies moving here, there's a good chance that the policy Biden signed into law, the reason they're moving here is because they're going to get subsidies from the government and tax incentives to move there or to build those factories or the manufacturing or whatever else it is in America. That's all I'm saying with Biden. Just like when it comes to facts, I know we all care about facts and truth. That's how these businesses are making that move. And I just want to make sure everyone we want to put the credit in the right person's hands, right? I don't want Trump to get credit for a policy Biden did. I don't want Biden to get a credit for a policy Trump did, So I think that matters to look at for these different cases. But also, like I said, look up the UPS, look up trucking. They're having big issues there.
Yeah. Would you at least say that the border numbers coming down dramatically the way they have? Would you say that's a good thing or no?
It depends what you mean by good thing. So, like immigrants in general have a really low crime rate. So it's a mass deportation will crash the economy. And immigrants help the economy a lot. So more people are probably going to die from the economy going down. So it depends what your goals are. Do you want America to be more homogenous and more white and less less diverse? Then it is helping because I mean we're losing researchers and stuff too. And we're losing a lot of good stuff as well because ICE has no leash or anything. I don't think people want to come to America when we're doing what we're doing now and terrorizing people. So I don't know.
Well, that will keep people from coming over here. But you don't agree that allowing millions and millions of people to come over here is a problem? Just unvetted, unchecked? That's not a problem to you?
So when we talk about what a problem is for immigration, we need to definitely increase the capacity of our immigration system and change what the laws are. But like Biden did not violate any laws in what he did. You can say Congress should have passed the law to make it better, or you could say executive order should have happened for different things. I think Biden should have definitely messaged harder on that and been more aggressive in solving the influx of immigrants. But the big thing I'm looking at is, when Trump says you have to be afraid, you might be murdered or raped or whatever in America, and Trump kind of says that all immigrants do that. It's just not true. Like immigrants have a very low crime rate, and I want Americans to understand that. And there's a reason, and this is one big thing about what people see in immigrants. So in cities and really diverse areas, in places where people interact with immigrants a lot, usually, unless if you're like a border city or border town that has a lot of issues, usually you're going to see people say like, oh, if you live in a city, you're around immigration, you're in favor of immigration, you're in favor of diversity. But then if you look at, for example, someone that lives in a rural area or an all-white suburban area, they're very anti-immigrant. So I think what we're having right now is a lot of culture clash and a lot of fear of immigration, not really talking about the actual, like, are immigrants good for the economy? Are they good for making our community safer? Should we deport someone who's in America for like 10 years, working hard, no crime? They have a family. They're a member of our community. Should we take away their working visa? I don't think so. I think it makes more sense to just have them pay taxes. So it's a really nuanced conversation. It's a complicated one.
Yeah, it's definitely nuanced because even Obama, as many things as he messed up, he would never allow millions and millions of people to come into this country. And it's really not a defensible argument to say that, opening the border was a good idea or anything other than a horrible idea. A lot of these people don't want to assimilate to our way of life.
Biden was never opened.
What'd you say?
There was never an open border. So like you have to look at asylum law. So like Biden never made the border open, but there are ways to. Our asylum laws are very loose. So what that means pretty much is if you come to America, you can claim asylum, whether you enter through a legal port of entry or not. So like, borders were never open. Policies were not changed under Biden. We just had a lot more people coming. Like Trump had more border crossings than Obama did, by the way, in general.
All you got to do is look at the numbers, man. All you got to do is look at the numbers.
No, you can't because you have to look at the actual, because they can count numbers in different ways. Like Obama counted, if you turn someone away at the border, Obama counted that for deportation sometimes. But again, Trump #1 had more border crossings than Obama did. So it's really complicated.
Yeah,
the way we have this conversation is not complicated enough, or it's not detailed enough.
Well, there really shouldn't be no conversation to begin with. The border should be closed. Nobody should be coming over here unvetted because you have no clue. We have no idea who come over here, from where, or how many, or nothing. I can't believe you don't see a problem with that.
No, I'm just saying that what you're saying is happening is not the thing. Is not the problem here. Do you think we should have less kids die, in general, in America?
In general, yeah, I would say so.
Okay, and do you know the #1 cause of death for kids is gun violence?
I would have to verify that, but yeah, I'm not aware of that. Gun violence?
Yeah. My main question would be like, if kids die so much from gun violence, then we could just ban guns. It just makes sense. We could save more kids.
No, because if you look at the the that do have strict gun laws, they tend to be the most unsafe places. So
but the numbers say that. But the numbers say if you have 0 guns, there can't be any shooting. So why don't we get rid of all guns? The numbers say that. We can just look at the numbers and know that that's true.
So who's gonna follow those laws?
No, but we could just get rid of the guns, though. If you look at the numbers, it should be illegal. Like, who's going to follow the border laws? Who's going to follow border laws? I mean, we should make guns illegal, though.
Well, the border is something that we could actively stop, and
you can stop guns. You could definitely stop guns. Australia did it. You can stop guns if you look at the numbers. If you want to, you must not want to protect kids. Then, if you want kids to die, you don't want to make guns illegal.
That ship has sailed. If you wanted to do that, maybe that ship has sailed, bro.
Well, we have so many immigrants crossing over the border. That ship has sailed. We can't fix that. I mean, there's so many coming. There's so many immigrants coming. We might as well just let them come in.
Though, so obviously you can do something about it.
Well, no. I mean, you could do the same thing with guns. You could just get rid of all the guns. I mean, it's that easy.
But that
Just
wouldn't
make it
even be
safe.
possible. You can put people on the border and stop the border invasion, but you can't just. There's
How long do you
already
think the
hundreds of
border
millions
is?
of guns in this
How
country. That's
long do you think the
ridiculous.
border is? How long do you think all
The
of
only
America's
thing-
borders
The
are?
only thing you can do with guns is take them away from law-abiding citizens. That's all you can do. The criminals are still going to get them.
No, but like you could have a bunch of border laws too, and the criminals are still gonna get in. So I mean, I don't know. You just look at the numbers though, and know that Trump's failing right now with gun deaths and also with the border.
Well, you can say
because
what
people
you
are
want
still
about
dying.
Trump, and there are valid criticisms, but the border issue, he's been excellent on that, and there's really no denying that. Really, there's no argument there. But you act like you say that the border isn't even an issue for you. Like it's not a
No,
big deal.
it is an issue, but when right wingers like make it their number one issue and they get paranoid about it, it's about fear and racism. 100% is because I mean, if there really
because
were,
it's a pretty valid concern, man. It really is.
But for most people, it's not. The people that care about it the most around me are suburbanites in Northeast Pennsylvania. So it's like they don't experience immigration at all. The big point is like if they think there's an invasion of America right now with deadly terrorists, then ICE would not be sending 20 people per college student that says something they don't like to take away their visas and detain them. If ICE really needed these resources to go after violent criminals, they would not be thought policing college students on student visas for saying something anti-Israel or pro-Palestine. And they're also, if they are terrorist invaders, illegal alien, thug, criminals, super Osama bin Ladens, then ICE probably would not be peacefully detaining these people in work. ICE is detaining people at work right now. Like 90% of the detainees are people they got from work or from immigration appointments. There's a reason ICE is not getting into shootouts. ICE is not getting into shootouts because there are not a million evil villain migrants taking over hotels everywhere. It's just not true. Or the right wing would have more to talk about than just Lake and Riley, if that was the case. Like you have to just tell me, why are there no shootouts on TV? Why are there no shootouts at all?
Well, it's because they're strategically getting them. Like, some people are getting caught at court or some people are getting caught, at work. Because, you don't want a shootout.
But these are violent criminal terrorist invaders and terrorist cells coming from Venezuela working with the Venezuelan government to invade America. I mean, are they not ready for that?
That's not debatable. That did
Do you
happen.
think the MS-13 gang members go to court dates?
Generally, no, they don't. But
yeah, exactly. They have MS-13 all over their faces. They're proud of it.
Most of them just evade. Most of them evade court. That's the problem. And you have to go find them. So.
Well, why is ICE? My question is, why is ICE dedicating so many resources? Have you seen the videos of them with that one college student, that one girl that was like a doctoral student, the one woman, and like 6 ICE agents rolled up on her with masks on, and they had unmarked van.
Yeah. The whole college. I wish they would. Yeah, the whole college situation. I wish they would use those resources for other things.
But my question is, why are they not, though? If there's really such a big issue, I think there's a reason, and that reason probably is they need to make it more hysteric and make it more, charge up the battle because they can't find enough criminals to go after because they lied about it.
Lied about what?
About how many criminals there are. Of course there's criminals. People, like immigrants killed and raped people under Donald Trump, too. But Republicans will use the death of Lake and Riley for politics. Democrats are more decent, so they don't use the death of random people under Trump to say he's bad at immigration. Because they know that the world is not a utopia. And the big point here is that Trump made people afraid of a problem that was not as big as it is, as they think it is.
But the Democrats will use emotional arguments, though. And they'll talk about a little kid with cancer as if that's really who's getting deported, little kids with cancer.
I mean, that has happened.
They'll take one little instance and make it.
There's many instances of that. There's a lot of kids with cancer I saw deported. But my main point is, again, like the reason Republicans are so afraid of immigration is because they're told to be. They're not at the border. They don't interact with immigrants that often. They might see a brown person every now and then, but they don't. Like if they had more examples, just like do you have do you share like what like geographical? You don't got to say state, but do you share what like geographical area you live in the U.S.?
Yeah, I live in the South. Yeah.
South. Okay. Do you live in a border state?
No, but I live very close to a border state. Yeah.
Okay. So like, you said the number one reason people voted is like the border.
Yeah. More than you would realize.
Yeah, I know, but like, my main question for people, and I ask people this all the time. You might have stories and stuff. But what Trump said is essentially there's 20 million, which that's not the real number. I forget what it actually is, but he said there's 20 million people in our country.
It's officially 10 million, they say.
He said there's he said there in there's 20 million illegal violent killers in America that should be deemed terrorists under the Alien Enemies Act, and we should be violating due process to take care of them. And we need to do it now. We need to violate due process, because if we don't, then Americans are going to die. And my only question is, why are they, why are they spending so many resources going after speech and going after random families that have like businesses and random people at work? They detained and deported teachers and soccer players, professional soccer players, autism awareness advocates, with no due process, because ICE agents looked at them and said they look like gang members because they're brown they had an accent, and they had tattoos. Like they used a Real Madrid tattoo, like a soccer tattoo, and an autism awareness tattoo to detain and deport people. There's that one gay barber they deported with no actual cause because of a mom and dad tattoo. And these ICE agents, I'm sorry, they are scumbags.
You have nothing to worry about.
No, yeah, you do, because these people were not here illegally. That's the big thing. They were asylum seekers.
Then
they had court dates. They had court stays.
No citizens are getting deported, man.
I did not say citizen, but this is the issue, though, because Republicans, I say this all the time, and you prove it to me. I say that Republicans have two types of people. They have citizens and they have illegal aliens. They don't care about green cards. They don't care about visas. They don't care about asylum seekers. They don't care about withholding status, if they even know what that is. So, like, you just said it right now. I just said they're seeking asylum. I don't even think you know what that means, to be honest. And that's a problem if you care about immigration, because that's like the number one issue.
It gets overused. Of course, I know what it is. It gets overused, but yeah.
But there's people that, okay, so for example, the soccer player I mentioned, the autism awareness tattoo guy, like they escaped electric shock torture in Venezuela, made it to America for a better life, got away from their dictatorship, made it to America, wanted to work hard and just be part of our country. They went through legal ports of entry. They did it the exact right way, every single step of the way, following U.S. law. And ICE agents did this to those people. And my main thing is Republicans just seem to not care, because if someone is not a citizen, they just call them illegal aliens. And these are innocent people who are due process being violated. And again, they're calling this a wartime, a time of war that justifies national emergency, where we violate the Constitution and rip people out of their homes. And they're invading American citizen homes now, and they have detained multiple American citizens already. They have not deported American citizens other than 4-year-old babies and 2-year-old babies. So they have some type of shield there. But the resources that are being used right now, and the news stories and the instances of crime that we see, do not line up at all with the ways with the way Republicans talk about the border. Like there's all these criminals in here. Trump said during the election, you can't walk outside without getting killed and raped if you're a woman. And if I don't win, all the brown people are going to invade your white suburbs. Like he's saying that over and over and over again, but the facts just don't support that. Being a reality is my only thing.
Yeah, well, no, almost no other country on the earth would ever allow. I can't believe. Okay, so I can admit that they need to be off the college campuses. That's not the main issue. There's other things we need to worry about. But you can't seem to admit the obvious, that tens of millions of people flooding your country could be a problem. That's the thing, we don't even know.
I already said that could be a problem. I said that could be a problem. But the things that conservatives cry about is like the New York hotel, for example. That's one of the biggest things they talk about, which are all people we track. We know who they are. We track them. So conservatives, I don't think they even care about that. But my main thing, again, they need to go after college kids. They need to go after political opponents. They need to go after random people that they can say are gang members, because I promise you, they cannot find enough criminal migrant gang members to keep up their wartime campaign. They need to cause more battles because they don't have all these illegal alien criminals to go after. And immigrants in general have a lower crime rate than American citizens. And that's why they're running out of people to go after, because they can't find any more criminals because they lied about what the actual crime rate is. Okay, so this is my big thing. You keep going back to, I don't think it's a problem to have like millions of people cross over with no way to identify them. And what I'm saying is, you can think that's a problem and also recognize that the idea that there's a bunch of like gang members and rapists and killers parading our streets and killing all the people and making the crime rate go up, and you can't walk outside anymore if there's immigrants around because you have to be scared. Those can both be like, you can say it's an issue to have millions of people coming over without, better immigration laws. And you can also say that Trump lied about the level of violence that America was facing from immigration.
I'm not sure that there's any proof of him lying about it. That's the problem, is that we do not know who's over here.
What about the Haitian dogs and cats, though? What about that? What about eating the dogs and cats?
Well, I know they were eating ducks from the local pond. I'm not sure about cats and dogs.
That wasn't a thing either. That was not that town,
you just, I mean, can you admit that, yeah, Joe Biden messed up pretty bad, and now we got to come clean it up?
Okay, but again, if you think he messed up, there's a reason, again, that you're not seeing the arrests that they promised because they can't find the actual problem or what the problem is. If you think there's people that are coming over, the big thing people voted on is that they think their country's going to be overrun by criminals because Trump told them that. And they did not see that in their daily life, but Trump fearmongered about it. That's the big thing here. Like, we could say immigration law should change.
Even if they weren't criminals, a lot of them come over here and do not assimilate. So it's really, it's an issue regardless. No other country would allow this. And
tons of countries allow diverse people to come in.
Obama didn't allow it.
Yeah, Obama did allow it. He just had like standards that he would talk about to say about like learning English, with which like 99% of immigrants already do, or 99.9%. They're multilingual most of the time. Free countries do allow diversity. Free countries allow diversity. Only dictatorships don't. Assimilation is not the see, this is the big thing. Assimilation is largely emotional. Like, America was built off of having Little Italy and Chinatown and all these areas of cities where different cultures could be in the melting pot and be able to share the country and all add our best qualities to it. So like the idea assimilation is the issue. I just don't believe so, because our greatest eras in American history coincided with huge periods of immigration. Like our greatest eras have had huge periods of immigration. And it's been that way for a while. Our best researchers come from other countries a lot of the time. Our best athletes come from other countries. They're not like I just don't think if anything, the assimilation is being made harder by people like Donald Trump lying about the black and brown people coming in from other countries, and white immigrants, by the way, because I know some Australians have been beat up by ICE because ICE is a bunch of rabid dogs. But I don't know. I appreciate the conversation though, man.
Yeah, man. I enjoyed talking to you, man.
I'll let you end on whatever you want to end on.
Yeah, so I just feel like these are 80-20, 70-30 issues. The whole transgender issue. These are losing issues for you guys, and if y'all continue to defend gang members, if y'all continue to defend transgenders, men and women sports, y'all are going to lose again the next election, and probably the one after that. These are all nuanced issues, but the Democrat Party has gone so radical that any time that anyone in the Democrat Party veers off 1%, they get ostracized and they get pushed out of the party, like RFK, like Tulsi Gabbard, and others. Y'all are in a bad spot right now. That's why y'all's approval is so low.
One thing though, do you think we're defending gang members, or are we defending people's rights because there's like 70% people with no criminal record being sent to a labor camp in El Salvador?
What that will do is scare people from coming over here and maybe send some people back, because that's what needs to happen.
No, but constitutional rights, okay, that's what we're fighting for. We're not fighting for the people. We're fighting for the rights. Yeah, there are. If you're a person in America, because the whole part of our country, so like due process, for example, is a limit on government power. So we're saying, what standard does the government need to meet to enact state violence, to use the big government to move a human body into a prison camp in El Salvador, or to any cell, or to execute them, or whatever. And if you're going to do that, then yeah, due process in the Constitution, it says every person is afforded due process. And it makes sense, because why would we, if there's a tourist here from Europe, do they get no due process? Can our government just put them in jail forever? Like, everyone gets due process in America, especially if the government's going to do like violence upon them. Immigration courts are different, but the El Salvador thing is a forced labor camp. And like the big thing is, we are not defending gang members. Okay. We don't know who's gang members because Trump is putting them in a labor camp in El Salvador with no due process. We're defending constitutional rights.
Well, all I know is this is a good way to make an example out of a few people, and maybe people will quit trying to come over here, because ultimately that's what we need. We need to stop immigration altogether for a period of time and get some people out of here, and that way we know who's in our country.
I mean, if we stop immigration, I'll just say, like, again, the constitutional rights are the big thing here. If you're against the Constitution, that's fine. You can have that opinion.
Well, yeah, but they disregarded our laws, so I don't think they deserve due process. They're not citizens, and
okay, here's the danger, though. Okay, from your perspective, if the government can just say, for example, hey, that dude right there, that's an illegal terrorist, we're gonna put them in a cage. If the government said that to you and they want to put you in a van, what are you gonna say to them?
I have an idea. So we're good.
No, but you realize due process means they can just take you with no ID, right? That is due process if they look at your ID and can see who you are. Like that's part of due process. So like they can only know if you're an illegal immigrant if they do have due process, or they'd be deporting American citizens.
Well, I can assure you they're not deporting American citizens. And if they did mess that up, then they would get it fixed.
They have already detained American citizens, like probably hundreds of times across the country since Trump became president.
You're going to make some mistakes over time. It's going to happen.
It's not fine to break the Constitution to put people in jail with the big. You're just really in favor of like an authoritarian government, like a more violent, oppressive government because you think it'll turn out better.
Well,
but I'm just saying
this shouldn't have to happen. Like crazy things. They call for crazy measures. Like this.
No,
is...
but like, that's what like. So, for example, if we talk about the Constitution, that's what protects us from having our rights violated, from the government infringing upon those rights. If you're gonna say that we're in a bad, if we're in a bad situation, or if you think there's an emergency, we should just throw away the Constitution. That is the same argument that Hitler made when he got ultimate power. The same argument that Mussolini made. Same argument that Joseph Stalin made. Same argument that Vladimir Putin made. Same argument that Mao in China made. This is the same argument every dictator uses to suspend constitutional rights, because they say, in service of the nation, we're going to take away your rights to make sure you're safe and put you under constant surveillance. And I don't want a world where the government can crack down on people like that, because I'm pro-American freedom. And you are. I just want you to know you're anti the American project, because our founding fathers disagree with you. Our Supreme Court disagrees with you 9-0 right now. It's a heavy Supreme Court. And what you're saying right now is a 1090 issue, or probably 2575 issue, because 25% of the country is a cult with Donald Trump. But don't be too confident, because the pendulum's going to swing. And if you want to deteriorate and take away these rights, it's going to come for you eventually. It's not going to ever spare you. We have to defend rights for everyone, whether you like them or not. That's what makes America great. That's what keeps America great. And like I said, you cannot find. There's a reason ICE agents are going after little college girls, because they can't find the problem that you say is a big issue.
All right, man. I respect your opinion, and it was nice talking to you.
Oh, yeah, and also I'm going to defend trans people, even if it's a 199 issue, because defending civil rights matters. And I don't care if someone says black people are dumb, whatever, animals. I'm still going to defend black people and want them to have civil rights, and I'm still going to defend gay people. I'm still going to defend trans people. I'm going to defend women and men, because all rights matter, and I don't give a shit if it's popular or not, because I don't want to live in a damn dictatorship.
You think that transgender women should be able to compete with women in sports? You have no problem with that either?
I mean, when we talk about like co-ed sports, when you're under 14 or over the age of 18,
to a woman and playing in women's sports, you don't see a problem with that?
In competitive sports, no. In casual sports or co-ed sports, yes.
Of any physicality, you don't see a problem with that?
So like, for example, in sports right now where men and women play co-ed, 14 and under, and also in college, for example, you can have casual leagues in these sports where trans people should be able to participate in. But if you're talking NCAA football, then no.
Well, no. Well, yeah, women don't play football, but
they can. Rugby, rowing, whatever it might be.
Okay,
like
so we're clear, you do think that men should be able to play in women's sports, like maybe like fighting, boxing, UFC. You don't see a problem with that? Mixed martial arts.
Yes, I do. That would be a competitive sport where there's an actual reason to say, hey, these physical differences would create an issue. Like, yeah. So in logical areas,
so
you can have that conversation.
Not completely crazy. Okay.
No, but the issue is that when people say that stuff, they're just anti-trans in general. Because if that's your big political issue, you just don't like trans people and gay people. It's just how it is. It's fine, but.
Well, I think you might be projecting a little bit there, because I just think I'm trying to protect the women.
No, you're not. Okay, wait. You're not trying to protect women, because right now the trans bathroom bills are allowing creepy old men to grope children because they think they look trans. You realize that, right? Little girls are being groped by old men because they say you look trans, and they're grabbing them. Like, that's happening legally because of these laws. That's happening much more. That happens much more, and you just don't talk to women like that, because that happens much more to women than trans people assaulting them. Women feel much safer at drag shows than they do at church sometimes. Like, much of the time, by the way. If you talk to women, like, especially like.
I don't know. I just don't think I should be able to put on a wig and go into a woman's bathroom. That's very odd that we're allowing that.
You know what? You know what? You know what? Hey, you know what the real thing is? I think you shouldn't be raping at all. And if you're a creep, and if you're gonna do creepy things, that should be not okay in any society. If you want to walk in the bathroom as a man and just rape a woman, you can do that right now. And men do that. And actually, most rapes happen among family members and among close friends and people you already know. The idea that strangers go around and do it, it does happen, but that's a small minority of the sexual assaults. But by the way, if you want to be a creep and think about that, you can think about that all day. You can think about genitals and trans people. The truth is that the thing presenting danger to women is white men and men of all colors. Men of all colors are the thing presenting all the issues. So if you want to cut down on men's rights to make sure women are more protected, you can do that. You could have a whole thing about how men are evil and you can protect women. But the thing is, trans people are not the problem. It's men, right? It's men. Men are the problem.
Well, no,
we should have laws against men.
They're not a problem. They're not a problem until they start teaching children in schools.
See, but that's the thing, though. You could go from sports, then you go to bathrooms, then you go to teaching kids in school because you're like a ping pong ball.
It's all a problem, but whenever you get into the schools, man, that's whenever you cross the line. It's all a problem.
Yeah, that's what they said about black people too. They said that once the black people get into school, once they force us to integrate, they're going to teach our kids how to do whatever.
Okay, so just so we're clear, you don't see a problem with them teaching kids about transgenderism. You don't see a problem with that.
What age?
In what way? Anything. Well, in the ways that they're doing over in California, where they're teaching kids about genitals and all this weird stuff that
okay, so here's one of the weird things too.
Like 8, 6, 7.
So in states where they don't talk about genitals or sexual education, kids get raped a lot more because kids are unable to defend themselves. They don't know what's happening to them when they get raped by an adult because they don't talk about sex at all. So sex education does protect kids. If you're talking about like puberty, like when they go through puberty, that's normal. That protects kids. And there's more teenage pregnancies, more STDs and everything. If you don't want to teach kids about sex in general, then you are putting kids in danger to be raped more. And I hope you don't have the position much longer. But when it comes to trans people and gay people, if you just say, like, for example, sometimes guys marry guys, sometimes girls marry girls, I don't think that's a big issue. You don't have to get into the details of it and go super deep. But just talking about trans people existing or gay people existing, it's probably fine. The same way you tell your kid, hey, you know, you're white, but not every person's white. Some people are black, some people are brown. We don't got to talk about it too much right now, but, you know, some people are different. You know, he dates a guy and whatever else. You could explain things to kids. I don't know why we want to baby our kids nowadays. Conservatives want to put their kids wrapped in bubble wrap and never show them the outside world. I just wish we would stop having this victim mentality from conservatives where kids and people can't handle tough conversations about anything.
Well, listen, there's a reason that the transgender population is increasing dramatically. And it's because kids are getting taught, and they're getting more or less groomed into becoming trans.
No, it's just more legal now, more accepted. That's why. The same thing with why people are more left-handed today. They could do more things with their left hand. It's the reason that we have more organic food. Organic food correlates with autism rates, by the way. So organic food must cause autism.
Yeah, I believe that, honestly. I'm sure. But I don't know. This wasn't an issue 10, 15 years ago.
Well, wait.
We've gone so crazy.
Wait, 15 years ago, the big government said gay people can't get married. You realize that it was illegal for marriage equality 15 years ago. So it makes sense, right?
I'm saying, yes, of course, but do you not see how crazy this whole country has gone? And most countries don't operate like this on any level.
Well, free countries do. Free countries do. To be fair, like free countries operate like this.
Okay, so you would agree that we're a free country?
Well, I mean, you want policies for gay and trans people that Saudi Arabia has. I don't want to be Saudi Arabia or El Salvador, but you like that because you don't like America very much. But
well, I don't think that any type of sexualization should be public on any level. Whether
it's not sexualization to tell kids about sex.
No, I'm talking about just like public displays of affection or anything of that level. I shouldn't have to see anything about you being gay, and my kids damn sure shouldn't have to see it. Because
you seeing something,
man, and
you seeing gay things doesn't make you gay.
Numbers are rising, man.
You seeing things that are gay does not make you gay.
Well, obviously something's going on because these kids are getting. They're seeing
here,
stuff. And
here's the big thing: if you're getting turned on looking at gay men kissing, then I think you should explore that to see if you're into it, because you must be very confused. No, honestly though, because most people that are not, the reason you think this is because you think everyone has the same feelings you do when you look at two men kissing because you get turned on. I don't feel that. So me seeing two gay men could not make me gay because I'm not gay, but you might be. I'm just saying. If you feel that way, if you feel like it can convince someone to be gay, I'm not. It's not a good one. I'm just saying you should explore that because you're making that argument because you see that when you see two men kiss, you're like, wow, this might turn me gay. But usually people aren't like that. But you might be in that category if you do feel that way.
No, I'm just saying there should be the whole public displays of affection, whether it's heterosexual or homosexual. I don't want to see it, and
Yeah,
no kids
should we ban straight people from kissing in public?
Why do you feel the need to go on the street talking about pride that you have in having sex with other men? Why is that something you feel the need to show everybody?
It's because in multiple states it's illegal. And usually if your civil rights are taken by the government, you protest or you show displays of like pride for that's why, because if your rights are violated by the government, the same reason people say Black Lives Matter, or they had civil rights marches for, in the 60s and all throughout the past, whatever number of years, is because if the government oppresses you, it's good to get with people that share you, share your experiences to get out there and display that you are proud to be yourself. And the government says it's illegal to be you. And you want the government to say it's illegal to be them. So that's why they're protesting, because people like you want to make it illegal. So.
Yeah, well, I don't want to make gay marriage illegal, but you have to draw the line somewhere. You do. You have to draw it. Are you just saying be tolerant of everything always, no matter what? There has to be a line somewhere. And I would say transgenderism getting taught in schools is that line. And you give
what is transgenderism, and what study is that, and what do they teach in transgenderism class?
No, there's not a transgenderism class, but you see, I can show you video after video after video after video of, and I can also show you the actual books over there in California where they're normalizing. They shouldn't be mentioning anything about transgenders to children, is my point, but they are.
It's fine.
Kids shouldn't know that that's
Do you
an
think
option.
that they could tell kids about black people?
Well, of course.
Why?
Being black is completely normal. Being transgender is not normal.
Well,
And
there's a lot of people that don't think
impressionable.
it's normal to be black, right?
Well, that's their opinion.
Are you saying
but
racism does not exist?
People are born black. People are not born transgender. That's
Who
the thing.
says? Wait, who
That's the difference.
says? Who says?
Well, if you're denying that, then I don't know what to tell you, dude. Are you that lost?
Well, how do you know? How do you know when someone becomes trans?
You're born with one of two sexual organs.
No, you aren't. No, you're not. Actually, there's a lot of people that have both, or there's a lot of people that have female chromosomes and they have male parts.
We're going to talk about the anomalies. We're going to talk about the exceptions, which is like less than 1%.
Yeah, they still exist. I mean, okay. No. Actually,
like,
no. Trans
evolved.
people. Wait, that's why trans people make up 1% of the population, because they are an exception. But it's still people that exists.
At a pace that is not natural. There's something else
I mean,
going on.
it's 1% of the population. No. It's just when things become more legal and accepted, people become that. Like interracial marriage, for example. We saw a huge surge in interracial marriage after the 60s. It was because it became more legal and more integrated in society. So like integration
Well, yeah, I guess so. I guess if it does cause more people to be transgender, then maybe it shouldn't be legal. If that's really the only reason. It's not the only reason. These kids are getting taught about this stuff, and they're highly impressionable. And I've seen it with my own eyes. Kids that were completely normal at 8 or 9 talking about they want to change genders. There's nothing normal about that, and it's taught. They're not born that way. It's taught.
All I can say is, if you think you can be taught to be gay, then you should teach yourself to not be gay and teach your kids to not be gay. Because apparently you can control that, and there's nothing else that can control anything. But like, do you know that biologically there's like 30-something sexes, like scientifically? I don't usually go into this because it doesn't matter, but like, do you know? I don't know all of them. I can name this. There's a couple syndromes where you have XXY chromosome, or you have like XY chromosome, but you show XX. You show the genitals from different sexes. They're intersex. There's a bunch of different mixes where you have different hormones and chemicals and genetic makeups where someone's going to be somewhere in between male and female biologically. And also brains can be that way too. Because, why do you have nipples, by the way?
Why do I have nipples?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
I don't know. Why do you have nipples, guess?
I don't know.
Why
do I have nipples?
Do you want to know why you have nipples?
Let's hear it. Let's hear your theory.
And this is why we got to teach kids about science because, okay, so men have nipples because humans develop in the womb, inside the woman. In early fetal development, the first 6 weeks, all embryos are female, by the way. The first 6 weeks of your development, you were a female. And nipples form during this stage before the Y chromosome actually kicks in and different hormones and chemicals are produced, like testosterone, for example. And that chemical or hormone will make your body develop in different ways in the womb. So we all start off as women the first 6 weeks. So we have on our body nipples, which are for women, on our bodies because we share in the complicated biological process. We share these nipples with women because of that. So do you think there's any chance that we share other things with women, or some of us do, in that complicated process?
Well, yeah, of course. We're very similar. I mean, we're human. We do share a lot of qualities for sure. But at the end of the day, the government should acknowledge two genders. And even if there are exceptions, those exceptions are so low that they should not be recognized and become mainstream. Is my point.
See, when you
so you said there's 30 something different sexes. Is that what you said?
Yeah, biologically, without getting into gender, there's a lot of them.
Without getting into gender.
Yeah.
How many genders are there?
I mean, I would say I accept currently male, female, and non-binary as my three gender choices.
Brother,
the answer depends a bit on whether you're asking from a biological, medical, or social,
You've
cultural.
been indoctrinated, and it's really sad because
No, I just understand things about the world. You don't care about them. You're afraid. You're just a really really scared person.
You've been very, very feminized.
No, you're a very scared person. No, you're a scared person. You have nipples. You're literally a woman. You have nipples right now. You have nipples. Women have nipples. Why do you have nipples? And you like men too? Like it's just weird.
That's such a dumb.
You literally have nipples, bro. Why do you have nipples? Are you a woman? You must be a woman if you cut them off. Cut your nipples off if you're really dedicated to the cause. Cut your nipples off. You're trans. Why are you trans right now, bro?
I can tell you think you lost because you're making stupid arguments. It's not even an argument.
You've been
at
stupid
all,
the entire conversation. You want to take away civil rights. You want to take away the Constitution. You literally said earlier you want to violate the Constitution because you think a national emergency is there because you're brain dead and you're paranoid and you're literally just like a very weak person. You don't want to actually solve problems. So you want to throw the whole Constitution out because you have no ability to actually resolve those problems. You want to hide from them. Call in again sometime when you have actual facts on your side. We can go through them. But if you want to take away civil rights from people and constitutional rights, you should have a high barrier for that because if not, it's going to come for you too. And you just don't give a crap because you want to be a little dumb trans boy because you have nipples. You remember you have look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. You have nipples. You have nipples. You literally have nipples and a very tiny. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna take you to my. We got 2 short streams. I was gonna thank you for the super chats. I'm gonna send you to the other short stream because I have 2 going to. I don't know for fun. Thank you for Jeremy for $5. Thank you so much. Please educating Trump supporters. Keep educating Trump supporters who are brainwashed by disinformation, Trump propaganda. Thank you, Thank you, Jeremy. Over 200 school shootings in Texas alone each year. Thank you, Jeremy, for $2. $5, Jeremy. Thank you for $12, Jeremy. The caller's IQ is falling faster than the stock market. LOL, bro's brain is completely cooked. Thanks to Fox News and Trump. Truly sad and pathetic. I don't know, dude. He's got to go try men, apparently. I'm gonna send you guys to the other YouTube shorts. I'm gonna send you over there right now. I'm gonna go watch the other YouTube short. I have 2 up right now, so see you guys there. Thanks for watching. Drop a like, subscribe if you want to donate. Donate to Jolah Politics on Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. Jolah Politics, or through the coffee link for text to speech. Become a channel member for $3, etc. Thank you. See you guys over there. Wait, thank you so much for $10. Initials HH. Thank you so much for $10 on Venmo. Thank you so much on Venmo. Thank you.